It's up. And streams up.
Excellent.
Oh my. And chat's up.
I mean, like we had done this before. No?
No. You know, like maybe we had, I don't know, maybe a couple times.
At least,
times,
at least
90 times.
twice.
At least a few times.
At least 2 other times.
Yep. Oh, we're back. It is, what is it? It is October 25th. Monday, 2021. Back with another live show. A lot of new subscribers. Thanks for all the support. We broke 400. We're at 401. Woo!
My, yes. Thank you.
That was a quick jaunt. 25 subscribers, like a finger snap. We don't take it for granted, though. We appreciate it every second of it, guys. Thank you so much. Boom, boom, boom. Dune. Everybody's got to watch Dune. Great sci-fi. By the way, is it show 89? It is, right?
89er.
Tesla 1 trillion. Oh, David, we got so much to talk about Tesla. How about them earnings, huh? They did well. I'm going to say 15 seconds. Thank you very much, Brad. Thank you so much. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 2.
Bam.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Not Your Average Show. Mike Corey here with you yet again.
What's going on?
What's going on? Well, let's get it on.
Hey.
That was like MXC channel. Let's get it on.
Get it on.
It is, it's Monday, October 25th, 2021. We got a lot to talk to you about. We are back in the studio. Sorry we missed you guys on Thursday, but there was a malfunctioning of equipment, kind of for somebody getting work done on their house. Like it seems to be a weekly thing for all of us in these parts. And so, yeah, that was that. So we missed Thursday. We were going to bring you the JetsonONE on Thursday, but, you know, delays. But
yes,
we're glad to see that everyone else has found some of our content that is out there, especially on that new personal, what was it, the Air 1?
Yes.
That video seems to have
that was pretty cool.
taken off.
Pretty good.
No pun intended. And I hope you're like everybody else and you watched Dune this weekend. What's going on, Corey?
One sentence.
Yes.
Yeah. It was good. It was good weekend. We also watched Dune, not over the weekend, but we watched it as well. Not that we were going to talk about Dune, but yeah, we watched the movie Dune. Hey, if you've seen the
we can talk about it for
older movies of Dune, we found them enjoyable. Some people think they're too long, too slow, blah blah blah. Long story short, this one, the new one, we thought was entertaining, but it ends as a part 1. And there's another part coming.
Okay, what? But
that's not like the. That's not giving it away.
Spoiler alert! Yes, but the other part of it is they haven't even greenlight number 2 yet, which is kind of annoying because you would think with the cast that they had for
Mind the Spice.
Yeah, it was like they had a good cast.
Sandworms.
Right? There were sandworms in there. And it was I really like the design of the helicopters, which are now Dragonfly based.
Yes.
Which that was really cool.
That was cool.
And what was really neat is it seemed like they sampled basic helicopter sounds for them.
A little bit, quite.
A little bit.
Yeah, if you guys have flown around helicopters, you'll be like, that probably wouldn't sound like that.
I'm trying to figure out if it was between the Bell 407 and the EC 130. I think it was more like a Bell 407 was what it sounded like to me more because it had that little that tick to it. Could have been, you know what? Now that I think about it, could have been an MD 500.
Could have very much been like direct.
Yeah,
a little bit of pitch changes.
Yeah, a little bit of pitch, but it was pretty cool. So there's that. Well, that was I watched Dune, and then we had a wonderful celebration with friends and lots of other things going on.
Hey, it was good.
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Good.
It was a good weekend. Yeah. Well, now I guess we have to preface some of what we're going to talk about today because obviously I think it was David. I forget which David it was that said, you know, let's pay attention to Tesla's earnings, which we did.
Oh my, yes.
And there was. Here's the thing, I guess. There's a really modular conversation that you have to have about Tesla right now. Because, first of all, just to start off, I think their stock is up as of right this second. It
was 10% earlier.
Yeah, it was 10%. I want to see if it's still...
We're going to talk about why, of course.
Yeah, we're going to talk about why.
You guys haven't already seen.
Let me just... Tesla's now... oh, my God.
What now?
116.
Well,
it's up 12... It's up 12.8. 12.8%. My God.
In a day.
In a day. and it's probably going to raise the market because I know places like Facebook aren't doing that well today. So,
Wow.
there's that. I know Facebook went back up. What do you know?
Good old face space.
But it's interesting to see the Teslas now. They're capping $1 trillion again. Man, oh God,
first time ever. Bam, $1
trillion corporation right there.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting. All right, so I guess we've alluded to it enough. We didn't discuss the order before this, but actually we did.
We did.
You're gonna
do?
You're gonna do Indy. That's right.
Okay, cool.
You're gonna do Indy.
We'll do that.
So with that said, I like saying that. That's my line.
You
That's
do.
my
Your catchphrase.
It is my With that said.
With that said.
Boom.
Moving on.
It's all yours. Hey, you can have it.
Amazing. Cool. With that said.
Yeah.
I'll start the segment. Hey, this next one is about some autonomous, actually race car tech, as it would be. And it comes to us with the title, Indy Autonomous Challenge Tests Driverless Tech. Students didn't know it was possible. Okay, cool. So if you didn't know, the Indy Autonomous Challenge. So back in 2014, there was a plan to race some Indy lights at IndyCar with autonomous challenge or autonomous technology, in the sense that like there's no drivers on board. They were gonna have a real race, just like it would be a normal race. All the cars would go out at the same time, drive around the track, but they're all autonomous, and you'd kind of just sit back and watch a race, but that'll be robots driving the cars. We had a race a few days ago. It didn't look like that what they wanted. It was more like a kind of like a qualifying session, honestly. There were some accidents, but nevertheless, it looked more like that. But still, a lot better than they were doing a few years ago. And it is a bit of a notch in the hat for autonomous tech, and it is pretty cool, honestly. So I know he's probably got some pictures up there too. But
small ones, yeah.
There were some Indy lights. There was Dallara chassis, and they were over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and they did accomplished, a race of types. It wasn't all out at the same time. I mean, sure, having been on the track too, hey, I would love to like see a race.
Sure.
More less like an autocross, where you're kind of racing the clock. That's fun. Don't get me wrong. I did some autocross too back in the day, and it was good fun too. But I kind of like everybody else being out there at the same time. That's just me. But there you go. But anyway, we thought it was pretty cool to say, hey, check this out. It is pretty cool. All in all, a team, let me get them up so I don't mess it up. Members of the TUM Autonomous Motorsports team won the race. And they said, I think overall, $20 million was spent in trying to further the autonomous technology for these teams.
I think it was 120.
120? Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah, my mistake, excuse me. But anyway, really cool. If you're into that kind of stuff, what do you think, Mike? I
think it's kind of interesting that they set up 4 months ago in the article. They said they couldn't get these cars go more than 30 miles an hour on the track.
Yeah, they made some big.
They made some huge advancements there. But what's really interesting is that they talk here in the article, which is interestingly enough, how the teams actually made their runs. And they said one of the first teams went out there, completed a 2-lap run. That was the KAIST, or the South Korean team. They went out and ran, I guess, 84 miles an hour. And then University of Virginia went out and ran 119.8. But it then unexplainedly just didn't go into pit lane. It ran another lap, so they tossed the time. Another one from the...
hey, it's autonomous.
Yeah, right?
It's like, I'm not done. I'm still good.
I'm going out for more.
Then I got more battery. Let's do this.
One from Hawaii. Took the field before the entrance of turn 1 and spun through the grass.
Racing is difficult.
It is, but you've seen. But here's the funniest part: real drivers have done this. Famously, I think it was a Quaker State car, 20 years ago.
The first turn can be difficult.
Yeah, it can be difficult. So they said that, ironically, it was a $1 million prize, but what these guys actually did, the German team registered a 1-lap average of 136 miles an hour. Okay, and a full run of 135.9, nearly 5 miles an hour faster than the nearest competitor. Okay, and so another competitor spun. The hardest part was trying to find it on TV. I really wish I could have. I looked, I couldn't find it. I went to go find the line stream later. It was too late. But here's the thing: for autonomous tech, for pushing the envelope further, and for now showing the fact that, hey, 136 is not super fast, right? But it's not slow either, because that's pretty unique as an achievement. Now, what it spells for the industry, I don't know yet. I'm not really sure how it really impacts the industry. I think it moves the industry forward, but it didn't garner enough media attention, I think, to make the impact that I was hoping it would. How's that?
Yeah, I think you know, the idea they're trying to maybe push home, without getting into all the technical stuff here, is a large problem that autonomous tech has currently is ingesting all the information and then computing, you know, what to do with it in a timely manner, right?
Yeah.
And
sure.
so just as you can imagine it yourself driving down the road in a car going 30 down a road, if something runs out in front of you and you need to stop, well, you're going pretty slow, you hit the brake, you see it, boom, hit the brake. But you know, not everybody drives around at 30. You know, you're on the highway at 70, so it's twice the speed, right? Reaction times are much less. And so I guess what they're, I know a benefit here is if you can get the computers and the algorithms good enough to have good, solid, like sound, logical reactions at this speed with these reaction times, then yeah, that should have some ability to transfer that the things you've learned to the street for the rest of us to use. So
it's interesting to note that the human being, the way it's designed, in and of it's the way it goes about doing its business, has a natural system built in that when the body moves forward, believe it or not, your eyes compensate with your forward movement by moving left and right and scanning the area in front of you automatically without you thinking about it, okay, to keep you moving forward on a path. But that's why if you've ever noticed yourself walking outside in an afternoon, you notice that you're gazing left, right. You kind of look around because that's your body's natural inquisitive clock going, hey, I'm taking in my environment. And a lot of people don't understand that even when you do things like fly aircraft or do other activities, we teach people with flying helicopters actually to use the peripheral vision of their eyes and so on and so forth. And where am I going with all this? That is not something that's innately built into a computer system, that it knows that that's a natural ability to survey your area, right? We only have basically optics when we're looking at the road, and our depth perception comes from two eyeballs, and that's pretty much how we make up all the
stereoscopic.
Yeah. That's how we make up all of our dimensional information that's incoming. So for these systems to be able to do it right now with a homogenization of many different layers, but being able to travel at 135 miles an hour on the track, pretty unique. Okay. Another thing is, you know, having the servos having to do what they need to do to modulate the throttle or the steering input and be reactive enough. It'd be interesting to see one of these things get up to 250 miles an hour or 240, like their human counterparts. But I can see that happening within a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I would imagine. I think I'm most interested to see. I mean, this is pretty interesting, but I think I'm most interested to see what happens next. Whatever we can find out that they've learned from this, and you know, and see what, like, I guess exactly like you said, like where do we go from here? What's actually been taken away from this to use elsewhere? And I would be interested to see if they are thinking of doing this again in terms of like. And when is the time frame for such a thing, you know?
Right.
Because again, as we said, you know, they started this discussion back in 2019, and it's been now, you know, it's now 2021, October, near the end of 2021. So it's been a little while to get even this far. And like Mike said earlier too, even 4 months ago, they were still not even able to do this. They've made so many updates in the last 4 months, even to even have even to run qualifying laps like this. So, yeah,
I guess for me, the last part would be really quick. Drivers that go out and do this for a living do it by the seat of their pants, right? These guys go out there. You've done stuff like this before. They literally have to feel the edge, and when they've gone over the edge, it's usually too late to recover from it because they've literally pushed that envelope on the adhesion of the tires, the maximum downforce the car can make. The turning angle is too great, and the car swap ends, and before you know it, they're in the wall at almost 200 miles an hour. That happens regularly at Indianapolis. So the point of it is that. Can you build an algorithm that fast that understands what seat of the pants feel is like? Because I know you could hypothetically build in tire temperatures. You have to build in, you know, angles of incident on steering and, you know, weight loads that the car would have to understand as to what is happening. But the funniest part is the human being still does that with his ass.
Yeah,
literally. Like seat of your pants, right?
Yep. Quick reaction time, quick hands. They talk about quick hands.
Quick hands, right?
So yeah.
Interestingly enough. That's my interpretation of it. all that equipment to replace your butt in the seat flying around the track.
then I want to walk out there and be like, looking at these. This is really cool. Can you just take all that crap out? And I'll just take it out for a spin.
Go for a ride.
I'll show you.
I'll take it around.
At least,
Interesting though.
Cool.
Cool.
Hey, it's cool
stuff.
Good times. Good fun. So thanks. Yeah. So interesting there. We'll keep you up to date, whatever we can find out about this, more about this tech as it goes forward and where that tech's going to go actually. So, like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. Thanks so much for all the support lately. We just hit over 400 subscribers. So again, thanks for all the support. And remember to hit the bell down there to see new stuff. So thanks.
Thank you so much, guys. Yep. All right. So from autonomous vehicles taking over on the roads at Indianapolis, we move on to another discussion, which is a comment that came up in one of the episodes about a week and a half ago. Someone asked us if they thought, or if we thought, that Apple was going to make inroads into the VTOL markets and what they would do. Ironically, that's not without some merit of going and doing some looking as to what Apple might be finding themselves involved in that industry of something that might take flight, although it's much smaller and it's actually a little bit easier to agree upon the fact that this is probably an entry-level thing for them that makes just great sense, which is they have filed for a patent according to Drone DJ and actually patently Apple, a couple of the places, that basically Apple has filed for a patent to use cell towers to aid in the beyond line of sight transmission ability for actively navigating drones, which, if a lot of people understand what that means, and I'll break it down for you here in a minute, is a pretty big deal for Apple to make that step going forward. Basically, what it's suggesting is that Apple had a patent that it was filed back last March that basically said that they could embed the signal out there to command drones beyond line of sight. What's beyond line of sight? So basically, the FAA says that if you have a 107 license, that you have to have basically visual contact with your drone at all times when it's flying within a vicinity. You have to remain visible, like with it, or you got an operator that can see it over the distance. But if you lose sight of it, technically you're not be able to fly it any longer with that exception. However, with this patent, basically what Apple's saying is that they could use their 5G signals embedded through cell towers to use this system to basically communicate beyond that function and let the drone continually operate. And it would use the 5G systems for communication from tower to tower. So that basically says that ultimately you would no longer be limited by whatever transmitter you had for your type drone in order to operate. And if it was using an Apple product, say like an iPad or an iPhone as part of that system to use it as a controller, you're making a massive leap forward into basically DJI space and a couple other, prosumer drones, I guess. Now you're giving a consumer the opportunity to go beyond line of sight, but that would also mean that they would have to have the FAA privilege to do so. So big news for kind of Apple making some strides. Doesn't mean they're going to become a drone manufacturer, but it means that they've improved the capability beyond technology's sense of giving you a little bit more reach with the drone. So interesting, or what? What do you think?
I think it's super cool. I mean, anybody who's flown drones or been around a lot other people that fly drones will probably know how basically the interface works. A lot of times it's a phone. Some drones come with their own camera screen or phone screen, on the actual device, the handheld. But many of them, again, as DJI is the one on everybody's, first forethought of mind, maybe would be, just pop your phone on this. It actually will hold your phone on the controller itself. You'll tether your phone into the controller, and boom, that's your interface. All of your heads-up display kind of things, speed and altitude and battery life, all that kind of thing just shows up on your screen through their app, of course. And so this is something obviously Apple, as you said, is not. They've been working on at least since last May. They had the patent out last May, so
right.
Something it's not a space they're not accustomed to. We know Apple likes to dabble in different things.
Yeah.
So I'm not too surprised. I want to see where it goes, though.
Right.
Like, what are they? It's like you said too. This doesn't mean they're going to be making drones themselves, like the actual hardware,
right?
Like the drone,
right.
the flight system.
Yeah.
But are they going to look to integrate this tech into the mobiles?
I would imagine
that would be where I guess.
Absolutely.
Because that's really kind of writing on the wall, right? Cell towers and whatnot. And then they talk about the 5G, the new 5G systems that are coming online too. So, yeah.
I think so, because they do mention that in this lower part of the article that the March patent actually had been linked to Apple's acquisition of Intel's 5G modem unit, which was back in July of 2019. So whether or not this technology was embedded in that, and now they're exploring it as a further reach of putting it, and here's the thing, it would be chipset based, I'm assuming, and I'm making the assumption because it's a very vague patent. There's actually a drawing on there that actually explains it from patently Apple, which it goes into some some of the areas of saying what it's going to do, drone location, coverage holes, and it works over this optimum scanning signal angle, right? Goes through that, and then there's another one here that actually says how it would work with the UAV controller going between each individual space and location. But my guess is that it would have to be chipset based, naturally inherent to the chipset on the drone and to whatever the controller is. So if this is their way of saying, hey, we're going to give you, something better than what is right now, what is it, Skyview or whatever the one that comes on the DJI goggles.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah.
This is, what is it, OcuSync or whatever they call it, or I can't remember what they call it. But basically, there's great visual clarity in those headsets when you're operating a drone long distance, much better than the stuff that's available on the market in other cases. So I'm wondering if this is basically their workaround and saying, hey, here you go. We're going to give you ultimate long range drones, which a lot of industries, especially those which use drones for things like crop spraying, or maybe even beyond that, pipe and power line surveying. We're going way deeper into places where if you want to do some scientific experiments and basically you knew you had a drone that was capable of flying in half an hour and you wanted it to literally fly, I don't know, 10 minutes into location, 10 minutes on location, 10 minutes back,
right?
Because it's such a remote area, you could get this to happen.
I was kind of thinking, as far as where 5G, and maybe their plan's a bit further than this, but I was thinking where 5G will be implemented first, and it'll be probably in the populated areas. So is this a play to get in with commercial drone delivery kind of stuff?
Could be.
Because that would help the certification side of beyond line of sight. If this helps assist in making sure service connection between drone and operator, or ground station, or mobile ground station, as it would be not severed. So
yeah, or reduce the possibility of what's basically a flyaway, which is a drone that goes rogue. It loses communication with its host. And then after that, it goes off and does whatever it wants, because, that has happened too before with a lot of drone products out there. So, hey, we'll be keeping an eye on this one for you guys. Again, we don't think that this is anything that we're going to see coming from Apple anytime soon, but it's probably going to be one of those latent technologies that we see, probably bubble up to the surface within the next 2 years. And we go, hey, Apple's been working on this because they see an inroad where this could be profitable. And let us know in the comments below what you think about this. Let us know if you think it's a great step for Apple, or what do you think maybe DJI should be scared and get a little bit better prepared for a 5G future in what products they bring to the marketplace. It'd be great to hear from you guys. Let us know below.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
Amazing.
All right. Next.
Cool. Tesla.
Oh boy.
All right, here we go. So I know some of you commented right at the beginning of the show.
Wait. Before, which article do you want up first?
I'm going with that one.
This one?
Yes.
The Hertz?
No.
This one?
Yes.
This one?
No. The first one you showed a second ago. That one.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. Just one. So, and then wait. So we can lay it out. So when we do the edits, we're fine. We're gonna go from that one to the batteries, or okay.
Hertz is third.
Just
so we know. Just so everybody's clear.
Okay.
And now I'll start the second again. Is that cool?
Oh, go ahead.
Excellent.
I just totally screwed it up for you.
It's cool. It's amazing. Okay, cool.
You ready?
So yeah. So
go.
next thing we'll talk about here comes to us from RS Technica, and the title is Tesla made 1.6 billion in Q3, and is switching to lithium-ion phosphate battery cells globally. Woo! And there's little details in here, and so I won't go too much into like the technical side, but I'll give you like what's actually going on here. So so Tesla obviously makes electric cars, and they have batteries on board, and there's a chemistry to how those batteries function, and there's been lots of technology trying to advance the density, how much energy those cells can carry, how long they'll last. You guys know when you charge your car, charge your cell phone, you don't want to keep them too depending on the technology. You don't want to keep them like topped up all the time. If you have RC cars, you don't want to store that battery full, in the garage for years, because bad stuff can happen.
Guilty.
That kind of stuff. So going on to this, it says basically that they're switching over to lithium-ion phosphate battery technology for their standard range cars. It started off in Shanghai, and it's working its way globally, and the idea there is getting down to like, okay, what does it mean for the consumer? On the consumer end, obviously everybody's thinking, okay, what about range, what about longevity? Some people are probably still interested in like how volatile the battery packs are, like for fires and accidents. So real brief rundown, all that stuff. So the lithium-ion phosphate batteries are less volatile than the current cells that Tesla's been using. So in NPEX, less likely to catch fire. That being the case, the knock-on effect there is they can package them different, and they do have a bit of a different form factor. And we have a link. I posted a link down below that actually is an in-depth look at like a battery. You know, in the videos, there's actually people got to go on site and look at the battery. If you're in the techno side, go check that out. It goes through like the actual cell itself.
Cool.
But so they can package them differently, and they're less likely to less volatile, less likely to catch fire, as I mentioned. So that means they can actually pack more of them in there, and that's good because this this chemistry is actually less provides less density. So you know, for 1-to-1, the new tech actually is not as energy dense as the previous is what we're currently using. But they're saying basically the long and short of it is they can get more cells into the same pack size, and thus the range will be about the same. So cheaper to make, about the same range, less likely to catch fire.
That's a
It's
three.
gonna last longer. I think I mentioned that either. They're supposed to last longer as well. I don't know if I said that.
So yeah, so what I hear is when it prints money. That's what I hear. That's basically
So that was a real quick rundown. I know, but what do you think, man?
Exactly what I just said. Okay,
exactly.
because now I'm gonna go back and I'm looking at Tesla stock again, and they're still up 11.95%. And the thing is, it prints money, and it's a brilliant move, right? Look, someone, and whether it's Musk or not, that makes all these calls is so much further ahead of the curve in the fact that they weren't really hurt by the chip shortages. They made 1.6 billion where other people couldn't even find a way to get cars out of the infields at certain racetracks because they're waiting on chipsets for them. Massive land in the profiteering of Tesla. This is you couldn't think of better strategies, especially starting from China, right? We're gonna look at like the other parts of this, but starting in China, where manufacturing costs might be even lower than that, they might have easier access to some of the materials to make these types of batteries. That's a huge win-win for the corporation, I think.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Everything you just mentioned, all the facets of lithium-ion. The only thing that we didn't look into like specifically is supply.
Right.
But I know, it still contains lithium. I don't know the ratio of like anode to cathode. I don't know exactly how the packs are made. But I know that there's some of the information in the other video, like I said, posted down below, so check that out. But going along with that, I know that the supply is still probably gonna be supplied by cattle. That's the CATL. It's a company called CATL anyway. But that's a company they've gotten a lot of the supply for previously anyway. And we'll see if these same cells are supplied by them as well.
Right.
We'll see. We're just trying to figure that out.
So the insiders, that's the article that you're talking about that had all the pictures,
second one,
right?
So you got that one up. Yeah, you could see. It talks about actually the cell design. These are prismatic form factor cells. It shows the packs themselves. Got a guy down here actually showing you like pieces of it taken apart. It's a pretty cool thing. Again, if you're into like how things actually work, a little bit of the engineering side, check that out.
How it's made.
Take a look at it.
Yeah. Well, even more exciting at this point is how they actually got it to all work is fantastic. But there's actually bigger news, and I think you got more to share on this, don't you?
Yes. Can we go to that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So the third part of the kicking this little thing off is something I found. I think it was just this morning, literally from 7 a.m. this morning, from Bloomberg, and Bloomberg says Hertz, the car rental company Hertz, orders 100,000 Teslas in a rental market shakeup. So basically, going full circle here, if you guys remember, Hertz had a bit of a problem back when they had to declare bankruptcy for various reasons, but along with the downturn with the pandemic and things, they did get purchased by a company back in May called Knighthead and Centaures, private equity firms that specialize in travel stuff. They bought that for $6 billion back in May. Just going full circle here, Hertz now is valued at 12.7 billion currently. So made some decent money there. But the long and short of there is we only have them grouped together here because we're thinking, okay, Hertz. What does Hertz do? Obviously, car company, right?
Right.
Fleet company, fleet rentals as well. What do they want? They want cars that are looking green, good for their image, but also that now they're going to last longer. They're going to have nearly the same range, at least the standard range versions, which is where the new packs are going. And they're going to be cheaper to make. So, because we think, again, 100,000 purchases, and it looks like that was about $4.2 billion of revenue. Looking at some things, they think that's not about sticker, so they're getting pretty good price for this quite large purchase. And obviously it's good for Tesla, of course. But that means that Hertz has about 500,000 vehicles,
right?
And they're saying they want to go basically full EV in the next few years, and of course this is a decent chunk of that. One thing to note too, this deal is not exclusive to Tesla for Hertz. Hertz has the ability to buy EVs from other companies as well. So currently Hertz, has got GM, Ford, Nissan, a lot of their big supplying cars out of there. We'll see if those guys can get in on this with Hertz, and if Hertz is interested to buy economies of scale. Literally, there's a quote in here from one of the guys at Hertz, the interim chief executive. He says, basically, how do we democratize access to EVs? That's important for part of our strategy. And then he says Tesla's the only manufacturer that can provide EVs at scale. Literally, it's right there.
Woo!
So,
ow, burn.
What do you think, man? I mean, that's like...
And it comes with Tom Brady.
Oh, geez, yeah,
Tom Brady gets to jump in.
Yeah, Tom.
Right? So they're going to use Tom Brady as part of their marketing scheme as well. So that's pretty interesting. But can I chime in?
Oh, it's your... Yeah, man.
So here's the thing.
Go for it.
Okay. When you talk about really great strategies and aligning your verticals and everything that Tesla has done to probably put this deal into place, and of course their earnings being 1.6 billion in the last
Q3.
Yeah, Q3.
Yeah.
I stagger over that because Corey and I are sitting here before we go on the show and we go, so how much wealthier is Elon Musk today than he was just yesterday? And we're trying to figure out that he's probably another
I don't know,
probably $30 billion more. Yeah, I don't know what he could be $30 billion richer than he was the other day, right? So the other part of it is that, look, new battery strategy, which obviously means that if these batteries do make it into fleet cars, which gives them another advantage in the fact that, look, fleet cars usually survive 2 years down the line, then they get sold, right? If that's the case and these batteries do last longer, they're less combustible, and they're in the standard models, which I believe there might be a lot of standard models that's part of this deal. This is a huge boon because they cut their product costs. They're selling more product. They're in I can't tell you how huge it is to be in the fleet sales, because fleet sales is if you couldn't sell a car to a customer, okay, over the next 2 years, your bottom line just balloons, because the best part is you've got 100,000 orders to buy right now. And it really doesn't make a difference what your other customers do for now, because you've now successfully sold that much. So that this means all of a sudden things like Cybertruck become a lot more viable, in that they could actually enter the marketplace a little bit later with a little bit more advancement of technology, knock out other competitors. It means that their big rig now suddenly could have funding like you wouldn't believe to suddenly make an impact in other places, which means Tesla's going to continue to do one thing, and that's capitalize. They're going to capitalize on what they've already got. Their charging stations are going to do better. Yep. Their infrastructure is going to grow, and this literally makes Tesla, I think, the big four. This makes them. They're an American-based auto manufacturer. They're the big fourth now, and they're going to be some other manufacturers now that are probably going to be like,
whoops.
Yeah, we got to take these guys as seriously as we can now, because while we were busy just getting into the EV market and celebrating the fact that we just sold a bunch of Lyrics, they just dropped 100,000 in freaking fleet. Yeah, and they just dropped 100,000 in fleet sales at Hertz, and that's
actually,
like, bam.
So that last thing is, you mentioned it, but I wanted to emphasize that just before and my part too, was to say, okay, we talk about all these EVs and everybody's apprehensiveness to maybe buy them for their personal vehicle, right? One of them, with Hertz, if you rent a car, you can maybe rent it somewhere and return it somewhere else. I mean, all that kind of thing. But then you say, okay, electric cars, talk about range. It's always about range. They got Tesla superchargers, which they have access to now. Yeah. So literally you get in your Hertz car, right? And it's a Tesla. So if you haven't been in a Tesla, they got the big screen there, and you type in your address and it calculates how you need to get there, the navigation part. Right. But it also takes into account how much battery you have and where you need to charge. And if you need to charge, it'll just route you to a supercharger all along your route. So now that's literally built in to the Hertz car. Yeah, because when you go to the Hertz and you're like, oh, I'll take a Tesla, long range or a standard range plus or whatever.
It changes their.
Boom, you get in and you like pop it in and you're out the door, and you got your charger. Maybe it's all included, right? Right. Your supercharging is just part of your rental. You don't worry about ever filling up gas.
Well, that's the thing. It changes their business model a little bit because remember you go to Hertz
No,
sometimes.
I don't want a GPS.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want the GPS.
Don't ask me. I have a phone.
I have a phone, right? But then the other part of it is, please return it with a half tank of gas. What are they going to say?
I don't know.
I mean, what are they going to say? Could you please return it with half a charge?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
And if you don't return it with half a charge, we charge you this much per watt.
I guess. Okay, so that's another thing. We have to think now too. So when you return a car to Hertz, if it's Tesla, do they have a 240 somewhere on site that's going to be dedicated to charging cars? They inevitably will not come in charged.
No.
Because they won't. People don't always do that. They're either short on time or they just don't care and they'll rather pay it. Who knows what, right? So, yeah, but things that, maybe when you rent a car you hadn't thought of before. These are new things. So there you go.
I think it's also going to change the perception that people have of electric vehicles if suddenly they say, hey, I'd like to borrow or rent a Tesla when I go to...
too. Get your foot kind of wet in the EV market. Yeah. Well, just go rent one from Hertz and see what you like it or not.
Well, the other part of it is, look, let's say you come to a place where you're not going to be doing a lot of driving. You're just going to go back and forth from a hotel, which is maybe 7 miles from your destination.
You're not going to use any energy.
You're not going to do like a long cross-country trip or something like that. Unless you're the one that wants to take that for that experience, right? But here's the thing, and you're just going to drive that car for a week, and you're going to put 85 miles on it, and you're going to rent a Tesla.
That's actually where EVs shine as well. Just what he's saying is
right in that place.
Short to mid-range trips at not great speed, not highway speeds. That's where their efficiency is the best.
Yeah, there you go.
And so it's.
And the last thing is, like I said, these things will spend 2 years in the marketplace as a fleet car. Then they're going to get dumped on the market. There's going to be a ton of used Teslas, which might be able to retain their value a little bit better because you don't have to worry about driveline destruction.
We'll see. I don't know.
Right? There's a lot of other components in there that won't be as abused, or maybe they'll be totally abused. Who knows? But hey, you know what? What's the fastest car in the world? A rental.
What's the liability going to be for autopilot vehicles? Will these cars come with autopilot or not? Because they're going to be new vehicles, so they'll be equipped with hardware 3.0, so the new computer. So will they be software locked so they wouldn't be able to use autopilot?
I would imagine that would dilute the experience. And number one, number two, I'd imagine that there's going to be a clause in the rental of these that says basically, if you use the autopilot feature, you are, this is on your insurance.
Yeah, it should be, but.
And if you purchase that, I would imagine that would also be an upcharge of maybe 20% that you're going to use.
They can't, unless they rewrite Tesla software, they enable autopilot when you rent it. But
you got to let me, here's my point.
Sorry, go ahead.
So now they're basically going to say at the Hertz counter, would you like to purchase the additional insurance? Because if you'd like to use auto drive, then you have to have 20% over your common carriage on your insurance, just so you know. And now maybe they'll put you in another insurance bracket. I can't imagine them not trying to either make you pay for it because they know the liability,
right,
or make sure that you know that the liability is there so that if you use it, you're completely responsible.
That's going to be another place to highlight the user awareness of autopilot.
This is true.
Liability, because we know, all you got to do is look at the news, but we've talked about here too, the nomenclature autopilot is not correct. We know it doesn't drive itself. And the whole liability with insurance, that's an ongoing issue, and we haven't figured that out yet. So
gotcha.
Interesting stuff.
Very cool.
Got anything else, dude?
No, I'm good.
Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks so much for helping us out, help the channel grow. It's very much appreciated. Remember to hit that bell down there. Get to hear new stuff either about Tesla or space or aviation, whatever it might be. So thanks so much. Catch you next time.
All right. So from that, we obviously, you guys might have found us recently from the Air 1 that we just did, the eVTOL that we looked at being the personal eVTOL that people are excited about all of a sudden. Well, there's one more out on the marketplace that is actually in the marketplace. And I actually found this one originally through the helicopter pilot forums on Facebook. Somebody posted it and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I did some research on it. It's like, oh, neat. And it's called, well, Jetson, which you really can't, you can't get around it. It's called the Jetson, and it's the JetsonONE, and they're promising start up and land anywhere you want as long as it's in 20 minutes of where you started, which is one of the caveats that I have to put out there, because we'll show you a quick video. But before we do that, one of the first things, just want to go through some of the tech specs. This is like the jet ski of the eVTOLs for personal use. And what they're saying right now is it weighs 190 pounds, which is not a light.
That is light.
Okay, the maximum pilot weight of a pilot is going to be 210 pounds. Okay. It's not very large. Okay. It's got a 20-minute flight time with a 187-pound pilot on board. Okay. So right now you're limited to a top speed, okay, of 63 miles an hour. It's got a 3-axis joystick, a throttle lever. When I hear 3-axis joystick, what comes to mind is I don't think you can do loops and rolls. Okay. It's got a battery type that's basically lithium-ion, and it looks pretty cool. Okay. It's not what I anticipated as being the first to market in this particular area, but now it makes kind of sense because this is kind of like the jet ski of, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like the jet ski of eVTOLs, right? It's the first natural progressive step from the size of a DJI drone into you personally having ownership. And they're saying that it's a race car desired design space frame, hands-free hover and emergency functions, which means you don't have to go through the laborious process of doing what we had to do, which is spend hours in a helicopter learning how to hover. Got a ballistic parachute with rapid deployment time, which is something that I've always said was going to be necessary on all of these things. One motor can go out and it can fly safely. It's a triple redundant flight computer and LiDAR sensors driven by terrain tracking and obstacle avoidance, which means I bet you can't crash it into something just because you're being a dumbass.
We hope so.
We hope not. So with that said, let's just going to show you a quick video of this thing doing its thing. It looks rather unique, and let's go for that, and then we'll talk about it in a minute. Here we go. I don't know if I agree with everyone's a pilot, but
get this extremely
here's the
high-tech
thing.
$3,000 drone.
I guess, I mean, you can't really
This drone
think of
engineer
any other
built a
way that this could
revolutionary
possibly
drone
be
at
the
an
future,
incredibly low
except for
price.
that kind of vision. That's what this looked like to me at first step.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it strikes me like the stand-up jet skis. You know,
Mhm.
like not a full-fledged jet ski, but like the kind of the first iterations of jet skis,
Yeah,
stand-up
yeah.
jet skis, where it's kind of you're kind of helping explore new territory, and well, this is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what this probably is, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, you saw that ballistic parachute. So,
Mm-hmm.
is there a set maximum altitude AGL above ground level this thing is supposed to stick to?
Right.
Does it? I mean, why? I mean, I'm just thinking, even a ballistic parachute that deploys near instantaneously, fine. But if you're, 20 feet off the ground, that doesn't really do anything for you. I mean, what do we?
I don't know.
I couldn't find anything about that. That's why I'm asking. I was looking at. I don't know if
So-
you found anything about it.
No, I haven't. And it
Um,
looks like for their first steps, what they're really doing here, and to me,
Yeah.
again, only from what they give you on the website is obviously 60 miles an hour crashing into an open field, especially with the space age frame like this thing seems to be surrounding yourself in. Doesn't look like that's probably going to do a lot of damage to you, because I will say this one sounds like it's built to crash. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a big difference here. Okay. It looks really, really cool, but that design, that shell that they're basically putting you
that
in,
you were in, yeah.
that you are in, which is basically unlike what you've ever seen before in something, say, like a Cessna. A Cessna is just you wrapped in a monocoque aluminum skin that basically says, hey, we're built to fly, not to crash.
Yeah, don't crash.
Okay.
Yeah, as light as possible.
Light as possible.
Yeah.
This one's an aluminum space frame, which basically says to me, hey, you might crash, and if you do, you might survive. Like there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, I'm thinking, if you look at the thing, obviously it would be making sense that if it was to crash, the arms break off, fine, but the place where the occupant is
Mhm.
should be pretty sound, as long as you're not getting poked while you're sitting in the seat, obviously,
Yeah.
But if you're crashing out in the field, yeah, it should be. I mean, you don't never want to, obviously.
Of
Don't get me
course.
wrong, but it looks survivable. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
actually,
does.
that one there, that picture has something that this one didn't have in the video.
Which is prop guards.
Exactly.
Prop guards. Well, there's
the
three
front.
things that I noticed that were missing.
Right.
Number one, navigation lights. So it did have a
Mhm.
headlight and a rear light, which is
Mhm.
basically more like some sort of ATV would have, but it didn't have navigation lights. Number one. Number two, I did notice that there was the screenage that they were using during the flight was actually an iPad,
Yep.
like an iPhone or something.
Yep.
So however much there's communication between that inbred or inside computer system,
Mhm.
I don't know whatever they've got going on there. There's a lot of details that are lacking.
Yep.
However,
Yep.
I will say this, despite their lacking details, the way it flew and the way it handled, to me, I wanted to get one without a doubt.
Yeah.
It looked like it flew stably enough.
Mhm.
It looked like for what the type of flying that it was that you could do, hey, keep it below 400 feet and, surface flying and stuff like that. You can have a lot of fun with something like this.
Yeah, it looks fairly benign. Looks like I said, it looks like it flies really smoothly.
Mhm.
I am certainly interested to learn more about it. One thing I noticed as well in the article and on their website, I don't see anything about certifications,
Nope.
like at
Mm-mm.
all. The
Doesn't say.
vehicle or the occupants, operators. I don't see anything
No.
at all. So yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how they go about this. It is.
And how many chassis did you say they already sold?
I think they've sold like 18.
Or people put in placeholders for?
Yeah, 18 I think is where they're at 18. Let's see, we'll go to the website back here again. They've got placeholders for chassis number
15.
18, so they've sold 15. Now I think the asking price was like
Yes.
92,000.
22 to put a deposit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
22,000
Yep,
for
there you go.
deposit, and
Yep.
19 for the actual aircraft. And look, it looks gorgeous. If this is the final production model,
Yep.
it looks like it's got the goods to make people who could be early adapters
yeah, who have that?
put that money in it and
Mhm.
go for it, because to me, again, I fly that in a heartbeat. And matter of fact, especially because it's got a parachute, they've already said the things that I really like right off the bat, okay, are the safety concerns that I would have for a device like this. Right off the bat, they said it can fly safely with the loss of one motor,
Yeah.
which is great. It's got a triple redundant flight computer, and it says that it's got a parachute and LiDAR and driven terrain
In the space
tracking.
frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, you know what? To me, that covers like my inner insecurities about if I was to screw up as a pilot. And there you go.
I would get on one of these way quicker than I would get on one of those. If you've seen those that look like a motorcycle, literally, but with no wheels, they've just got these big fans instead.
Oh,
but you're
yeah,
sitting
yeah,
on a
no,
motorcycle.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
looks cool, but no.
This is the deal.
No.
Yeah, for a personal recreation one, this would be my way to go right off the bat.
Yep.
And again, it looks like they addressed a lot of the major issues. Now, how do you do vertical flight as compared to forward flight? So I'm imagining you're still going to have much like a helicopter, some sort of collective type device.
I think that's the throttle. I would guess like its throttle would be like this makes you go higher or lower.
Right.
And this is just forward, back, left, right.
Forward, back, left, right, which we're very familiar with. So it's not a big deal.
You know.
What their height limitation would be in my last real concern, but it looks. I wish them the best of luck on this one because as a first step, as a recreational device, despite all the litigation that they have to go through to get it certified, despite anything else, it looks pretty badass.
I can see this coming like movies and stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah. This is it's a pretty sleek design as well. So
now
looks cool. Yeah.
I do see a commercial operation for this one. I know people are very fanciful on drones, right? I know that there's something that people have been using a long time. They've been using drones for video production and things of that nature. But in places like for a 20-minute flight for doing advertising, like being able to I don't know, put lights on it on the bottom and maybe fly it along a beach for 20 minutes at night or something like that would be pretty cool. But I do see this as being an alternative towards people doing cinema tracking or at live events where it's too risky to fly a drone over a crowd right now to possibly use one of these in some places like, I don't know, race car events or something. I'm just spitballing that I would buy one and be like, can I fly this commercially?
I think it does. Those sound interesting, especially with the parachute. Again, it depends on how you're going. But I think the main hang up there, which I'm sure they're already thinking about, at least behind closed doors at the company, is loiter time. Like 20-minute flight time for even these things he's talking about. If that's like rotor start to rotor stop in 20 minutes, doesn't leave you a whole lot of time.
18 minutes.
I know. I'm just saying. Depending on what you want to do with it, I would imagine. And again, this all goes back to what we talk about with battery density, right? That's all.
So here's the way I see
this. If you can
this.
shove more batteries on there.
If it's got a swappable battery pack, right? Here's my thing. And you could go to a racetrack and you know that you could go up for 15 minutes.
Sure. Oh yeah.
You could orbit the Daytona 500 with lights on it at night and people could see it. There's a spectacle, maybe even tow a banner behind it and then come back and land, swap your batteries
I don't know
out.
If it's got that kind of thrust, but yeah, we could see.
We could see, but it would be interesting. I'm spitballing. I know that there's, it's got a weight limit and so on and so forth. You make a very light banner.
Wouldn't be a very heavy banner.
No.
Much drag,
but there could be lots of things that I could see that would be exciting to do with this as a first step. First step only.
David's all about it.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yep.
JetsonONE is cool.
It is cool.
It is. It
is cool. Yeah.
Here's the thing. They painted the best picture they could with that video. That nice low to the ground flight.
Remember what I told you?
What?
When I first saw that video, I was like, the land speeder's here.
Yeah, it is.
Star Wars land speeder.
It is.
Bam.
They painted it so well as a picture of what you could do. So we'll see. We'll see what these guys get themselves up to. But they're definitely on our radar now. One of the ones that we'll be tracking again. Obviously, Jet Up Terra, we got a conversation coming up, guys. So we got that one going for us.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned. But let us know what you think in the comments below. Good first step, bad first step. If they're going to be successful, if you want one, what makes you attracted?
Win the lottery, bam, 92,000, yours.
If it's only 22,000 and put it down, maybe 5 years from now when this thing grows up and it can stay up in the air for an hour,
that would be super cool. That's what I'm saying. Loiter time is endurance.
Over a Cessna or a Schweitzer or an R22? No, hands down, this wins. This wins. Anyhow, let us know what you guys think in the comments below.
Yep. Cool.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, we couldn't say any more than thank you so much for all the subscribers this month. So far, this has been a banner month for us in growth. We're excited to continue the conversation. So look forward to our time change coming up in the not too distant future. And thanks again for everybody's participation. I'm done for the day. You done?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you real soon. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Later.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Have a good week. Until Wednesday. Then we'll see you.
Yeah. It was show 89, right? I didn't have to change it?
That's correct.
Okay, good. Why do I keep thinking I screwed it up today?
I don't know. You probably made that slide already for the last show.
Maybe. Who knows? Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.